Hello, and welcome to episode 54 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. I'm Mark Mason, and I'm joined by my two fellow amigos, Joel Valenzuela. How's it going, Joel?
How goes it?
Not too bad, thanks. Brian,
Hey,
all good with you?
I'm doing excellent. That sounded like a Derek Freeman impression.
No, I'm not. I'm not willing to get my butt kicked enough to try that.
And today, our special guest of honor is crypto personality Kenn Bosak. How's it going, Ken?
Hey, how goes it, Dash Force? How's it going? It's a good day, man. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's gonna be a good time.
Mate, I'm loving it. So for our listeners that can't see the video, because we are syndicated out in other places, in case Ken doesn't know, listening, Ken is decked out in Dash gear. It's not just his Dash tattoo. He's rocking a hat. He's rocking a T-shirt, everything. So typically, Ken, our audience is like diehard Dash fans, right? So I'm sure that the majority of our audience knows who you are. But for those that don't, who is Kenn Bosak?
Ooh, I guess I'd like to say that I'm the end user. Not an expert. I'm an expert enthusiast. You know, I really I like the idea of more than one blockchain. I love Dash, but I also love Bitcoin. I'm not a maximalist in any direction. And yeah, I just like to say I'm the end user. I'm the guy at the end of the technology that doesn't need to know how to do JavaScript or HTML5 coding to send you an email with a funny GIF in it. It just works. And I try to tell people that when I talk to them about crypto, you know, and that's where I think, you know, it helps the average person when I try to get them involved in crypto. I tell them you don't need to know exactly how it works as long as you know how to work it. And that's kind of what I do. I work it.
So would it be fair to call you a multi-purpose crypto mascot?
Ooh, I kind of want that on a bumper sticker.
Or get a tramp stamp with it, you know?
I got enough tattoos right now. My girl will kill me.
Running out of space. Come on.
Yeah, I need to save some real estate, and I got to diversify my
right there.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw Ken was whenever he did a live stream and he was getting a Dash tattoo. I sent him some tips and some mushroom emojis.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. By the way, I remember that me and Brian were sitting there, and Brian was telling me he knew who you were.
Man, so you also were a crypto YouTuber, but you've kind of come off YouTube recently, right? So
Yeah.
you've been about, people know you. You're not just the end user. Come on, be real. We see you at the events. You're always doing like live coverage from the events, you know. So I wasn't at Consensus, but I didn't need to be there because you provided so much live streaming with Omar as well for crypto that I didn't need to spend 3K on a ticket because I got to see all the good stuff through you, right? So
Right.
you know, you get about. So what's going on with your YouTube channel and stuff? Because you do the Pure Wealth blockchain channel as well, right?
Yeah, pureblockchainwealth.com is one of the outlets I'm using for my more professional interviews, more scripted dialogue, things of that, and less free flowing and free form. But I definitely feel like that's getting a lot more attention. But my YouTube channel is a little frozen right now because of the events that have occurred at Consensus. I did upload a video of me calling somebody out as a scammer in the middle of Consensus, and YouTube has dubbed that as bullying, harassing, and I think if I have it right, they considered that like internet terrorism. I was like, yeah, that's insane. The guy stole millions of dollars from people. This should be public knowledge. But they froze my YouTube channel for a while, and I just got the ability to start uploading. But I moved on to the decentralized platforms like Steemit, DTube, DLive, and I'm looking into other decentralized platforms as well because it feels a little
What's your
ironic.
YouTube channel, by the way?
Kenn Bosak, KENN BOSAK.
All right. Well, I might as well start upvoting you to start getting you some more. What do they call? Whatever they call them steamies.
Steamies,
Steam
yeah.
pennies.
I mean, it
Pennies.
feels a little like I don't know, backwards to talk about a decentralized, censorship-resistant, unconfiscatable, immutable money, but we're all talking about it on a very centralized, very scripted, very confiscatable platform like YouTube or the internet itself. It's a scary thing to know that the enemy can pretty much silence you if you're using their soapbox to wake the people up. So that's pretty much why I focus more on Steemit than YouTube a lot more recently. I'm hoping that people will see that as crypto content creators, that we have to support the platforms that support us.
Well, YouTubers were coming under attack as well from censorship from actual CoinDesk at Consensus as well. Like Omar was thrown out. So Omar is a crypto with the O for those that are watching.
Yeah, the zero, yes.
Yeah, so like
he got kicked out, yeah.
Yeah, like they weren't allowing people to record and stream from inside.
Well, last year they hit him with strikes, YouTube strikes, and CoinDesk had his YouTube channel for about a year. Live streams were restricted for Omar. He actually had to create a secondary YouTube channel for live streams because CoinDesk threw, I think, like 6 strikes and 3 stuck. So he wasn't allowed to live stream anymore, which is really crazy. But yeah, I mean, they weren't allowing any free media to really do press interviews in Consensus. They only had like official, like, you know, censored, you know, media running around. There was a lot of things that should have been brought to attention. I mean, everybody wanted to rip apart the event in Miami, but nobody wants to talk about how crappy Consensus was. That was because there was no media allowed at Consensus other than Consensus paid media. There was no free media, so nobody found out about the shit that sucked. But I was there, and it wasn't that great, especially for the $2,000 to $3,000 ticket. I mean, I'm happy I didn't pay. I just showed up, and I encourage people to just show up to these events. And if you can network your way in, that's awesome. But you can do a lot more in the lobby for free than you could do for $3 grand up on the top floor, where you're just going to get shilled with ICOs and stuff.
Yeah, they made like 17 million on that, the ticket sales. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder how much they gave to charity, local charity or local homeless in the area. You know, I bet nothing. How much food did they donate to? You know, it's such a waste. It just feels like people taking advantage of something that we're passionate about to make fiat. It's a slap in the face at the end of the day. But look at all the fiat we made, right? They said that, right? Look at all the $ number USD fiat we made. They didn't say, oh, look at all the Bitcoin we've made. Look at what we're holding in crypto now. That was not the sentiment at all from CoinDesk. They talked about fiat at the end of the day.
That's a really good point, because the whole point is to increase awareness and exposure, right? It's not like it wasn't like someone was going out on the street, setting people up with wallets, spreading the gospel of cryptocurrency. I mean, who would do that?
This guy, I did. Actually, me and Tiffany Hayden, shout out to Tiffany from Edge. We actually hit Times Square up. And I kind of made myself a little embarrassed. They had the big red stairs that lead up to Times Square. And I got up top and I yelled on a live stream, who knows what Bitcoin is or Dash crypto? You know, anybody know what these things are? And a couple people were saying, yeah. And a couple people were like, shut up. Who are you? You're crazy. But at the end, I actually ended up setting up about 35 to 50 wallets between me, Tiffany, and Kevin Moore in Times Square. We gave away Dash via the Edge wallet. And it was cool because these people some had no clue, some had some clue. Others thought it was illegal. And I'm like, you could look right there on Times Square, giant advertisement. It says, you know, CoinDesk, Bitcoin conference and all this. It's not illegal, but people still I thought that was drug money.
Wow. Yeah, the FUD is strong. And I think it's important what you're saying about censorship and free media and all that kind of stuff. And part of that's what Dash is trying to do, obviously, as far as finances, right? Make money that no one can take from you. And as part of a greater, you're talking about this crypto agnostic ecosystem where we're all doing our best to play a big part in it. Part of that means trying to apply the Dash principle to all areas of life. And so, like decentralized media and Dash Force News is out on Steemit and DTube, and hopefully we could get to something like Library soon because they have an auto YouTube channel sync feature now, and so that could be cool. It's so just the more of this crossover and kind of thing we do, eventually we'll just be all in this crazy crypto heaven while everyone else is busy throttling back or demonetizing their YouTube videos or whatever, and it's gotten really bad. Like I've used a lot of YouTube. And a bunch of people I subscribe to, whether they be comedians or parkour athletes or just whatever, are just griping about being demonetized or not knowing the algorithms, and that their life that they used to make, their living, is just in jeopardy now. It's not just like the really edgy bruh kind of people. It's everyone. And so this is why crypto is for everyone, not just the fringe.
Yeah, well, New York, they made with a bit license, they did make it illegal for lots of businesses. Lots of them, like Kraken's boycotting them. Shapeshift, they don't do business with New York. So many businesses don't.
No, I forgot about the sentiment in New York. Exactly, you're right. That it was a sentiment for a while. There was that atmosphere of it was actually illegal. You're right, and I actually had a lot of people have a problem with this because I was trying to explain to them how crypto works a little bit, and I could not use Shapeshift to trade Dash and Bitcoin. They would not allow it in the state of New York. Then I got to demo how a VPN works on the fly. I was like, thank you, New York, for the demo purposes. But yeah, I mean, that was another good use case of me sharing. Like, this is what censorship really feels like. You know, a couple years ago, it was, it was illegal for two different races to hold hands walking down the street. You know, it's illegal for certain things today that you may think is okay. But in 5, 10, 20 years, you're going to realize that you were being censored in a very direct way.
It's really not that long of a time frame because my parents were born in the early mid 50s in Arizona, they met in Arizona, and towards the later 50s, there was a law still on the books that made it illegal to marry a Mexican, which my father is. So if that had just stuck around like 10 more years, maybe I wouldn't exist. Who knows?
Dude, like 3 years ago, I couldn't marry you. I wouldn't legally be allowed to marry you, bro. And I love you, man. But it's against the law.
Yeah.
It's not something that,
breaking the law.
Right. It's not right. That's another conversation, too, that crypto actually stirs up with people is the difference between what is legal, illegal, and what is right and what is wrong. And I got to talk to cops in New York City about these topics and about like using the internet to buy drugs and why it's important, and not just hallucinogenics, psychedelics, and illegal drugs. I mean, like birth control. If you're in a state that doesn't allow it, things that are like antibiotics that you may have to go through $5,000 worth of doctor visits to actually just get a piece of paper that says now you can go buy your antibiotics too. People
Fun
are
fact
dying
about antibiotics. One time I had a friend of mine had like a razor cut that went septic. Ooh. And was going to have to go to a really terrible emergency room visit, and had 5 kids and a recent divorce and all kinds of financial problems, and just was like, I don't think I can afford the emergency room, and was probably going to die. But a friend of mine, crazy old friend of mine, always used to just buy a bunch of antibiotics really cheap in Mexico and just like have them. So then I got a hold of some, and then for like $10 saved this person's life and a lot of money, and of course the 5 kids. So it's just so funny how you can see that, if you're just saying about like the restrictions of antibiotics and stuff, that could be that's a literal life remover. It can really kill you.
And that's why Silk Road is an important milestone in crypto, in my opinion. Something like that is exactly why crypto is important. These decentralized marketplaces will self-govern when they need to. And we've seen that happen. I mean, shout out to hashtag Free Ross, they can keep him as long as they want, but they cannot stop what he has started, which is the free economy, the free marketplace. The idea of it is out there. Pandora's box is open, and to hold one man responsible for something that the entire world has utilized, it's just evil. So yeah, I hope that this year is the year that we could get Ross out, but the real importance is the things like Silk Road live on to save people's lives, like your friend who needed the antibiotics.
Yeah, I'd like to just impress upon people about that crypto is pretty much unstoppable. However, you aren't. The people involved in crypto are very stoppable. So I know it's fun to be, as much as we're talking about how all these things are terrible and how we can resist and all this kind of stuff. Sure, you might be able to remove 99% of the people involved in crypto, but then crypto keeps going with new people, but those people are still gone. So be careful with what you're doing. We need you more working and bringing up this glorious revolution and evolution about. We need you more alive than we do as a martyr in prison.
That is a good. Yeah, it's good. We have John McAfee to be our own personal martyr. We don't need any more.
Or personal insert whatever.
So Ken, Why do you like the Edge wallet?
Oh, great question. Actually, I mean, it's just the user friendliness, right? I mean, I use the Dash wallet specifically for private and InstaSends because the Edge wallet does not offer those features. So I will say that the Dash wallet totally has use for me with my private InstaSends. But when I'm using the Edge wallet, you know, especially for getting people into crypto, username, password, 2FA backup questions. I mean, these are things people are very familiar with, and it relates almost to like logging in with Facebook and then using your Wells Fargo app. So this is a great stepping stone. A little less personal responsibility when it comes to like you have to make sure you write down your private keys because if you lose them, there's no like backup. Yeah, Edge server isn't always maybe going to be there, but it is there now, and it's good as like a little crutch as a stepping stone into personal responsibility. Plus, I obviously I love to give people Dash. Dash is cash. I don't go around giving away gold and silver or gold and silver to people. I go around and you'll give $20 bills to people, cash, right? So that's what I do. I open Edge wallets. I'll send them some Dash to show them like, look, I can send you $10 for a penny. Like it's that easy, and you got it right away. And then the Edge wallet comes into play because I really like the exchange and shapeshift they have. So I can show them here, take your Dash, your cash, buy some Bitcoin, hold that gold. There you go. Now you can use this, one ecosystem to really interact with a lot of what crypto is: buying, selling, trading and exchanging. I'm hopeful to see something like a chat messenger be built in because I think the Toshi app just added it. It seems to be like a lot of these apps are adding chats, but the Edge wallet's just easy for people to use. I mean,
Rumor has it that the Evolution platform for Dash will include some kind of encrypted chat function.
See, encrypted chat, man. It's like the hot topic right now. And I think it's because Facebook bought, what was it, WeChat or something?
WhatsApp.
Yeah, and the guys quit the company because they found there was an unencrypted way to get their encrypted messages. So there was an inside backdoor made, which basically meant none of your messages were actually encrypted at all, which is kind of scary if you think about it. So I think that's why we're seeing this come up. Facebook has really shined a light to the actual use cases of blockchain technology. Right.
So do you just want to tell us a bit more about, because you're very active on Twitter. I thought I was active on Twitter, but then I met you. So you haven't just been tipping at Consensus. You've been setting up people with Edge wallets and tipping them Dash all over the place. Was it Comic-Con the other week?
All over the place. I was at I was at Consensus. I was at the crypto shit show with Nathan Hawk, and then I was with Tone Vase with his meetup and conference, and then Wizard World Comic-Con. And at all of those events, I did open Edge wallets and give away Dash. But yeah, the Wizard World was interesting actually because they call this nerd money, right? Like that's what crypto is. And I was at Comic-Con. That's like nerd haven, right? So I was just walking around in my Dash hoodie, asking me about Dash. And I actually had one or two people like, yo, I like your hoodie, like your hat, like, yo, Dash is what's up. Like they already had some. So that was awesome. And then I ran into people that sell merchandise. I bought a couple things actually I have around here with Dash because they used, what was the thing? I think they were using Square, I think it was, and it charges 3% per swipe. And I was like, well, if they're charging you 3% for me to send you money, if you wanted to accept Dash, I'll give you 10% on top of the value. That way you're earning some. And that was an incentive enough to get a bunch of these people to be like, yeah, that just makes sense. Nice. I mean, and then there's ATMs locally. There's ATMs locally where they can get cash for their Dash if they need to pay the rent for the booth.
I was actually talking to some local merchant who uses Square, and I started talking about Dash, and they were saying that how with Square it's 2.72% per swipe and 15 cents. So that's a nasty amount, and if you convert with Uphold to US dollars from whatever fiat from Dash, that's like 1.5%. And if you hold on to Dash, that's like negative 10,000% in the long run because it just goes crazy.
I think you have to pay a monthly fee as well just to be able to use their service.
So the merchants at the Comic-Con were like my go-to guys to talk about crypto because they see it, right? They're in the shit, so to speak, right? They're in the middle of being taken advantage of. They know what it's like to be at the butt end of something that's, you know, a conglomerate, right? They have a monopoly over how you do business. So you have to upcharge your merchandise to sell to your customers just so you can make the original thing you wanted to get for your item. It's not fair. And a lot of these people see that. And they also see that as they are being charged 3% plus 15 cents plus a monthly fee just to accept fiat, that fiat's actually getting them less supplies to keep their business going over time. So it's not only are they losing money accepting the money, but they're losing money on the money they're accepting. So they're very like aware of what's going on. If you look at these very small, you know, independent entrepreneurs, and even the girls and guys that were dressed up in cosplay that were taking pictures, they were charging people. They accepted Square and stuff like that too. And you saw people taking like 10 minutes to send one transaction to get a picture with like Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's losing money, not taking pictures with all these other people that have cash. And I was like, bro, put a QR code on your wallpaper and you're good to go. Done.
So you're swinging
your
through
Dash
like
wallet ready.
You're like the neighborhood crypto man. Swinging through the neighborhood.
Yes.
Yes, that's a new t-shirt
code out of the wrists.
Yeah, crypto paper wallets. Just
this is actually a really good segue because I've noticed with you, Ken, you've got a very likable personality and you've actually onboarded a lot of merchants to take on cryptocurrency as well. And I just want to bring Brian into the conversation because Brian has just launched a new contest that is probably right down your alley, mate. It's the Dash Merchant Adoption Program. Brian, do you just want to say a few words on this?
Yeah, well, it'll launch here next week. It's we're calling it the Discover Dash Merchant Adoption Contest. And yeah, you can check it out on the Dash forums. And we're still kind of working out the bugs and stuff, but yeah, next week it should launch.
Excellent. So there you go, Ken.
So how's that work? Do I go into a small business and they open a Dash wallet, or is it more of a point of sale system that they sign up for?
Yeah, right now we're focused online only because we don't have the best point of sale solutions just yet. So right now it's just online only. But eventually, yes, it will be brick and mortar and everything.
All right, cool. So it's sort of something like I could maybe get like a Shopify or something plug-in. Would that work?
We have a plethora from GoCoin to WooCommerce to Shopify to all sorts. This is part of the reason why we're trying to keep it simple because it's actually a worldwide program. We currently run a Dash Meetup program, which is open to the world. So by focusing on online businesses first, then we can offer these solutions because e-commerce is very, very easy and we have many options to suit every content management system out there in terms of e-commerce.
That makes
That's
sense.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, Dash is digital cash, right? I mean, it makes sense for online small businesses to completely.
Also, you know how Dash is a DAO. It's completely decentralized. It's not just one team. Obviously, the Dash core team, the business development department, is working on all these high-level kind of integrations. And then Alt 36 is working on all the cannabis points, cannabis dispensaries all over mostly in the West. And then in addition to us doing the online thing, there's this thing called AnyPay, which is this point of sale system based right out here out of Portsmouth. And they just got a proposal passed and they're going to be flipping a lot of businesses to Dash. And right now, I mean, Portsmouth here has 20,000 people and 27 Dash accepting businesses. That's over 1 per 1,000 people. And this is what they've done without funding. And they have a cool Dash back program that they were already using with their own funds that now that they have treasury funds to do, that gives people, like, say if you spend $10 on your sandwich, you get $1 back and Dash sent straight back to your wallet. And then the merchant gets another $1 sent there. So to incentivize that whole spending thing. So basically what I'm saying is drag your ass up here to New Hampshire and, you know, participate in the good life.
Yeah, no, man, I gotta get traveling, man. Yeah, definitely. That sounds amazing. I mean, I've actually thought about the rewards partnership a lot. Have you guys like been checking into that because I saw Rewards has partnerships with like McDonald's, Walmart, stuff like that. And you're going to be able to use the Rewards token and the Dash currency to interact with those traditional businesses online or in store, because you're going to be able to, you know, be incentivized to use these rewards tokens to buy in-store items at a discount. What do you like? I'm just curious what you guys think about like that partnership.
I'm really happy that you recognize the fact that Dash is digital cash and you can send it. It just works, right? As you rightly said, fees for under a penny. Ken, right now we're getting multiple businesses sign up to discoverdash.com, which is the Dash merchant directory. Currently,
I'm there right now. 1198.
Yes, like
too short. 1200.
Yeah, 1218 or something. When I last looked, what's the thing? And we've still got pending ones because we have to approve that, because you can submit a business, so we have to make sure that they actually are accepted before we can actually add them. And we only refreshed the website a few months back, and this is all organic, right? So this is real big movement. And even when you look at some of the top contenders in cryptocurrency, when it actually comes to utility and real world use, they don't have it. So when I look at Dash, there's actually more merchants accepting it than anything. I mean, I think, Ken, you tweeted out about cheapair.com, right? Yeah. And that actually came through the GoCoin integration that supports other platforms as well. So there's so many places that accept Dash that even aren't on the merchant directory yet, let alone over 200 ATMs and stuff as well. So it's just,
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, man. A lot of businesses probably didn't even make the directory yet because they just do it, right? They don't even care really for the recognition or even know. They just know that they need a new form of doing business, or their business will not survive. That's what it really comes down to. That's why they're adopting the technology, right? Nobody's adopting this because they have to, because it's being forced upon them. They're doing it because they have to, because they're being cornered into a wall, and this is the reaction of cornering people in a little spot for so long that they're willing to take a risk in a new technology, a new currency, because they need an option, and Dash is a lot of people's option, and that's obvious. That's, you know, and I'm personally going to make it a goal of mine to get one place to accept Dash this month. If it kills me, it's going to happen.
Well, you've done it already. Yes, last month.
Well, a business though, I'm going to try to get like my pizza store that's right next door that I probably do way too much business with because they don't accept crypto, to start accepting it. I've been talking to them a lot, and I actually feel like they understand because I think their American Express fee just went up recently. I'm constantly talking to them about this, and I think it did just go up. So I'm like, that's going to happen again. You know how Netflix used to be $1.99 and now it's $7.99? I mean, that's your transaction fees on Visa.
So you're fixing to be at a crypto event in Canada, right? What is that about?
So Canada's crypto, my buddy Kevin Moore is flying me out to Canada on the 14th. That we're going to be doing a meetup, a mini conference, as it were. I'm going to be doing a presentation on basically just, you know, how to utilize cryptocurrencies as an end user, you know, how to, you know, buy it, sell it, why, where, things like that. Like I like to use it for things like cheap air, so I don't have to, you know, give them all my credit card information over the computer just to buy something like a plane ticket, and all kinds of things. And we're going to be doing interviews with a lot of the Canadian companies like Equibit, and there's a couple other ones. I can't remember exactly who's coming out at the moment, but I'm definitely going to be able to do some on-the-fly interviews and grill these guys about their products and their companies, and, you know, try to make sure, like, you know, Canada's keeping up on the up and up and not just, you know, another one of those fiat grabbing scenarios. Because like a lot of the meetups I've been to, you see one or two people that are just trying to get people to use their referral link for BitConnect. And you got to go out of your way to make sure those guys aren't, you know, tarnishing everything. So I'm traveling up to Canada to make sure, you know, we have a good time. And it's going to be great because I'm going to be giving away Dash as well and opening Edge wallets at this little meetup. So I encourage people to show up, have your Edge wallet ready to go, and I'll give you guys a little bit of Dash, and we can, you know, talk about why crypto is important. And it's not just because, you know, government restrictions, regulation, all that stuff. It's, you know, it's a universal currency. It just makes the world more unified. I don't have to do anything. I can just travel from here to Canada with Dash, not worry about it. It's still going to be accepted as Dash.
What part of Canada? Where is it at exactly?
In Toronto.
Ah, I've been there.
Yeah, the heart. And it's going to be fun, man. I've never actually been out of the country. Well, I've been to the Bahamas, but that was on a cruise ship, and that was like half
international waters.
I've opened Dash wallets on the beach in the Bahamas. On the beach in the Bahamas, there was a guy selling merchandise. I gave him some Bitcoin. There was another guy selling T-shirts. I gave him some Dash, and I showed them how to trade. So I was like, you give him $5, you give him $5, you'll get $5 worth. Bam. And it was like, pennies to the trade. And I was like, there you go. It's that easy.
Didn't you run into an issue with a shop there? Because you went into a local shop to get some water or something, and they said, "Oh yeah, you need to spend a minimum of like $20 or something."
It was $25, right? And it was another $5 fee on top of that. So it was a $5 fee, $25 minimum. And yeah, that's where I said like Visa has failed, right? It's a failed technology. Microtransactions make it impossible to interact with merchants. I can't buy one can of Coke. I literally had to buy like way more stuff than I had. I was giving things out to people because I had to spend 20, and it wasn't like things were expensive. I just had to buy a lot of these things to just do one transaction, which was in a store. And that's when I realized after that moment, I was like, these people know, they're being taken advantage of. They just need to see the that little crypto underground railroad that's being built to freedom. Like, guys, come with me. I'll show you this technology, and nobody can stop you. It's not like, someone's going to stand in the middle one day and say, oh, we got a phone call and that guy said that transaction wasn't his. I know he has all your supplies right now, but we need that money back too. And now you're left with your pockets hanging out. And that happens, the small entrepreneurs, especially in the tourist industry. These people, they're hesitant to even accept credit cards because of that, let alone the fees, right? Like there's so many more problems than there are solutions when it comes to traditional transactions. It's actually surprising it's taking this long to really pick up an adoption, right? I think it's the inevitable regulations and the potential legislation around the technology that's really hindering its embracement, right? Like people are just afraid that if they accept Bitcoin as a small business, I'm going to have to hire a lawyer or a tax attorney next year that's going to make this, cost ineffective, when really it would be the other way around.
Yeah, one thing about Canada you got to be careful about is I know that they're getting really strict about, people they're letting in. I know they've harassed crypto people. I think it was either Joe Rogan, he had a cannabis deal, or maybe Eddie Bravo or Joey Diaz, one of those guys.
Bravo, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't let him in.
Diaz.
Yeah, one of those guys. Yeah, they had I think it was a cannabis conviction, and they wouldn't let him in. And yeah, I
have an adult record, so that could actually be a problem then. Maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. You might want to check that out.
Wait, I snuck into Consensus, man. I can sneak into Canada. Yeah. I mean, it's just you walk in backwards, right? You ride a horse backwards. They'll be like, oh, that's one of us.
One thing I love about Ken is that what he alluded to earlier about he's blockchain agnostic, right? So basically, I think he should change his Twitter name to like Free Market Ken, because he cares about utility and ease of use. He just wants to use what's best in the free market. And the fact that you're utilizing Dash now, I think, speaks volumes. And that's really good for me to hear. I'm just curious, do you agree with the same school of thought as Max Kaiser? Whereas currently he says Bitcoin is the store of value, like the gold, but Dash is digital cash. If you want to do your daily transactions, it's great. But, just to get your money out the fiat system, store it in Bitcoin, and for your daily transactions, use Dash, because Dash is digital cash. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I actually live by that. That's what I do, actually. I get paid in Dash through Bitwage into Uphold. So, like, if you send me like a paycheck via routing number, account number, it goes to Bitwage. Bitwage gives me Dash into my Uphold account, and I take what I want to put in my savings, like you would take your cash from your regular job and buy gold or silver tokens. I buy Bitcoin and store that away, or I buy Litecoin and store it away, gold and silver stored. But I keep my Dash in my leather wallet to transact with. And, as volatile currencies are, I usually, on average, end up having more value in my leather wallet over the time. So it's interesting to see, especially when it comes to exchanging back and forth. Well, I get paid in Dash, I buy Bitcoin, and then sometimes I have to sell my Bitcoin to buy more Dash to to transact with things, because the transaction fee on the Bitcoin network to send $5 multiple times wouldn't be cost effective as to just one transaction in the Dash, and then you can send as much as you want as microtransactions. It's just cost effective.
What is that silver coin you got there?
This is actually from Omar Bam. When I was staying with him at his place, he gave me my first silver coin because I told him I was not diversified enough. I told him I'm literally all in on crypto. I do not have stocks. I don't have gold. I don't have a bank account with fiat sitting in it. I have my ledger, my treasure, my keep key, my open dime. I'm all in. So Omar gave me my first piece of silver here, and then since then my buddy Steve Wand has hooked me up with this thing here, which is my prized possession.
Oh wow.
Look at that. It's a Dash physical hardware wallet, guys, and it's number 73 out of 100. So I'm diversified now. I got silver, I got some coins.
Let's see if mine comes through there. Mark, turn me on.
Yeah,
there we go.
I need to get one of those, man. I saw Rod, and I didn't grab one from him at Consensus.
That needs to be your new profile picture,
What's
Brian.
on the other side, Brian? What's on the back?
The other side says, I think, in code we trust. Let's see if it can.
Numeros Veritas, the Latin one.
In code we trust.
I got this guy from Consensus. It's the rewards poker chip worth 100 rewards tokens. And I got this because of the Dash partnership. So I keep it with my Dash hardware wallet. It's a little poker chip hardware wallet for rewards tokens.
There's a little Bitcoin type poker chip.
Oh, that's nice. I was going to say, yeah, it looks hand poured for sure.
Yeah.
Are those new additions, Brian?
Yes, they are. And here's an old Bitcoin one that I've had for quite a while. That's an older Bitcoin.
Well, there you go, people.
I got this one here.
This is sent to Silverfest.
It says no cash value.
Wow.
But I'm sure I could sign this and sell it to somebody, and then it would have cash value. So,
right, come on, Joel. Don't let the team down.
I got this at the coffee shop around the corner. It's kind of gone though. I need more. No, I'm not. I'm in the office. I'm in the at work office. I'm not at home like I usually am.
Yeah.
And no, but I have some old dark coin poker chips just because you gotta have some. I have like a silver ounce from the Ron Paul campaign that says "End the Fed" on it. I got some cool stuff. But yeah, it's funny how like so many of us who are into crypto are already in this the government doesn't tell me what value is kind of mindset, and just being able to have that.
Contrarian investors, we're open to alternative currencies because once
we're
once you're in Pandora's box, you realize the jig is up, the scam's there, right? So you just
right. I don't even consider myself an investor, honestly. I mean, if you decided to use euro instead of the US dollar just because you were smart enough to know that the European economy was going to do better than the United States economy, did you you just use different money, right? That's why I got into, that's not why I got into crypto, but it's how I kind of am in crypto. It's not like, how can I make money off of this project? It's how can I use what this project is supposed to be to make the quality of my life better. I don't own a lot of the tokens of a lot of the things I talk about because I don't feel like I have to invest in it to really utilize it as the product it wants to be. I drink a lot of Gatorade, but I don't buy Gatorade stock, stuff like that. And there's a lot of projects out there that I feel like if people talk about it, it's, oh, you must be invested in it because it's cheap. And I don't care what the coin costs. Don't even buy the coin, but utilize what the coin's platform is. Things like, I don't want to plug things or whatever, but Spank Chain or, Wax Token, things like that have real use cases.
See what you did there.
Did you just say Wax Token?
Yeah, man.
I don't even know what that is.
Wax or like wax the
wax on, wax off.
Yeah, it's from the Opskins guys, and what they're doing is making it so you can trade in-game content for cryptocurrencies. So if I send you a digital skin for an in-game content, you can't do a chargeback, and I will never get that skin, right? And these in-game digital items go for hundreds if not thousands of actual dollars, and these items aren't real. I mean, they're just not real, but they go for real money, and these people get robbed because of the way that the money transfer systems work. Or a lot of people will send money and they'll get a fake digital item that isn't recognized by the official platform. So it's unregistered content and you get robbed. So like they saw a use case. They've been doing in-game content trading forever. And now they created a blockchain to solve the problem they've been having forever. And I feel like these projects don't get any recognition because I don't think people feel like they're going to make 1,000x on it this year. And that's the problem, right? Like, you know, oh, I'm not going to talk about this because it's not worth my time to pump it, or I'm not going to make any money. It's not worth investing in. Well, who cares if it's not worth investing in? It's worth it existing in the end, and that's what's important.
Yeah, this is what makes
when mass adoption.
Exactly. That's the difference between an investment and a pyramid scheme. Pyramid scheme, you just keep pumping money in, hoping that other people pump money in and make you rich long term. Something that has value has value outside of whether or not the little USD price ticker goes up or down. So for example, what happens if you can buy something like a plane ticket with Dash and you could save this money, or you can do it, or you could do it being unbanked, or you could do whatever other thing that has value. So even if the price of Dash goes down, you're still going to buy Dash so you can use it for that purpose. Right. Like a recent plane ticket thing, this was before Cheap Air started taking Dash, so I had to do it. I had to shapeshift to Bitcoin. But a guy I know was trying to fly to Canada to take. He was trying to do it because his life in Mexico is honestly in danger, and so I was trying to help him claim refugee status. And so I just had him buy the ticket, and then I just said, copy and paste the address and the amount over here, and then I just paid for it. And he didn't. And then there you go. He was didn't have like a bank account. He's living in the woods on the run from some bad people and stuff. And so when he finally got his documents together, he didn't have like a credit card and a bank account, all this kind of stuff to pay for it. He just like, oh, I'm going to log in, try to get a plane ticket that'll work with my ID. And then zap, magic internet money comes from halfway across the world to go help him out. And he paid for it for all anyone has to know about it. It's like something like that is beautiful and has a lot of value. And I'd be willing to take a loss to hold that so I can use it for that kind of thing. I don't care if the price goes up or down because my life is made better off by using something like this. And if it doesn't make your life better off by using it, then what are you messing around for?
Right. No, I love that. It's a really good point. I mean, it's one of those scenarios where it's, if you're being suppressed and you know it, you can see the use case for something, but a lot of people are being suppressed and they don't even realize it until it's right directly in front of them. Like, they come for my neighbor, they come for my friend, they come for my loved one, and now they've come for my rights. Until it's in front of you, you don't really utilize these things. Crypto is one of those things that does not ask for permission, and it will never ask for forgiveness. It just is. And that's where I didn't ever thought of that right there, where I could just buy somebody a plane ticket and get them out of a country. That's an amazing use case.
Man, phone credit, everything. Bit refill.
Yeah, think about this.
20%.
Well, did you guys see my tweet a while back? There was a Uber driver in I think it was New York City or Miami, one of the conferences, and I was talking to him about. It started off with, have you ever used Western Union? Because he had an accent.
Unfortunately,
I had a feeling he may have been sending money home, so I was like, "Hey, do you use Western Union?" I didn't even say Bitcoin or Dash or anything, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I hate them." And he started going off, and I was like he went extra, and I was like, well, what did they do to this man? And we got a little personal. It was about a 25-minute ride, and he ended up telling me that he was trying to send his mother money. I think it was in Uganda. It's in the tweet somewhere on my wall a while back. This guy, and we were talking, and he couldn't get his mother the money. She was in an accident, I think a car accident, and her wallet was either lost in the accident or it was like an evidence or somebody stole it. Third world type shit happened to her identification. So she couldn't get the money out of Western Union after he sent it. So the money's there. They're holding it hostage. he can't send it again in like the cousin's name who has the ID. So he has to wait for them to refund it. By the time this all happened, the hospital, because how they are there, they actually kicked his mom out and she was dying. And he was not able to get the funding to her because of all these, roadblocks. So I actually opened an Edge wallet with him, sent him Dash. We hopped on Twitter. We found somebody in that area that wanted to buy the Dash for the local currency. And then we got the money to his mom for that, all through crypto, because Western Union still wasn't able to do it. And I think this was like a week or so after he even tried. So about 2 weeks through Western Union to completely fail. And I think we succeeded in about 4 to 6 hours via Twitter.
Nice. Wow. Well, there you go. That's one thing that people also don't think about crypto in, and there is a lot of spoiled first world people, like maybe us, but probably not us, think about it in the idea of, well, where can I spend it? Does Walmart take it? Oh, can I spend it at then it's not money. And it's like, well, whatever happened to medium of exchange? You exchange a thing and you use this. Whatever happened to a peer-to-peer thing? Whatever happened, you just like, people say, well, how do I get business to accept it? Talk to them about it. Just say, do you want to take it? How about they don't, but this restaurant like right down the street there was the first one that started taking Dash here in town. Before they did that, one of the waiters decided he loved Dash. He wanted to take it. So what you do is when you go to pay your bill, you just say, hey, is Campbell around? And then you just like show up and you just pay him to his wallet and he'd pay the bill himself because he just wanted the Dash instead. And so they just use that, and now it's like a fancy restaurant that, they actually have a Dash point of sale system they bring to your table and all that on the iPad, and they have a sister restaurant that does that too, and it grows from there. But it's like, you don't just say, hey, will you take it? And they're like, I don't know, and you just go,
Well, I almost don't want Walmart
to
accept crypto, right? Because like I want them, small businesses, those independent entrepreneurs, to really get that first mover advantage, because they're the ones who need it, right? Like they need an advantage on those conglomerate mega structures like, Amazon and Walmart, especially if you're an online business, which Dash is now reaching out to, right? Online merchants. So it's really important that they have this new tool before their competition, which is like a giant army if you're a small militia. And I think that's a good pitch, right? Like, hey, guys, that army over there still using muskets. Here's an AK-47 for your small militia.
I think you're right.
Especially it's competition, and that reminded me of the Food City story. So out in the Southwest, particularly Arizona, there was this grocery store called Food City, which is basically like the Kmart of grocery stores, just like outdated and terrible and about to go out of business. And then they realized a whole bunch of Mexicans were showing up there. And they had no idea why. And it turns out that the color scheme and the lighting and just that vague smell of meat and stuff in the air just reminded immigrants of grocery stores back home. It made them feel welcome. And so they repurpose themselves, and now there's like mariachi music playing. You can buy all the Mexican specialties and whatever, and then they just totally reinvented themselves because they were so like in a special way kind of terrible that they got this idea. This was the new market that brought them in.
The consensus for them.
Yeah, and you might think about this. You might have a business that it's just such a cutthroat world out there. You might deliver a great product, but the guy down the street might deliver a great product and have some connections and have like the cool little hipster man bun and the whatever, and then all the people like him and they come to that business. You might be getting destroyed in the market because of something you can't directly control. But then what happens when you start taking Dash? Now you got the local Dash meetup there. Now you got CNN coming in, filming you and stuff. Now you got to save those little margins on profits. Now you get to watch your money go up, and you get to hire more people, improve your business. Now you can compete again with that hipster douchebag down the street.
Yeah. So we talked about AnyPay earlier, Joel. Congratulations to those guys getting that passed. What are their plans to expand? They're planning to expand beyond New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. So I was meeting with those guys yesterday. Its first plan is to get an actual app store and Play Store app out of AnyPay, and to create internationalization. And it is in right now it's only priced in US dollars, and it's apparently not there's a little trick to it in the back end to be able to do it so you could price in a bunch of currencies. Not quite as easy as flipping a switch, but they're working on that. So people in Canada and Venezuela and Colombia and Ghana and Nigeria, those are just the people who have asked me about the point of sale system so far, that those guys will be able to use it. And right now, I think the biggest emphasis is putting money into the Dashback program, which will then pay people to make purchases, give them a little on the top. And so this thing's going to be usable pretty much by anyone, anywhere. And if you need fiat conversion, obviously Uphold's probably the best way to pair it with. And I talked to Ian Freeman, I mean, you know who that is, out in Keene, who's been having some businesses paired with those, and he's been experimenting with that. It seems to work pretty well, pretty easily for him. So this is going to be ready for the whole world to use pretty soon. As far as they have a team on the ground right now that is working in New Hampshire to do to set up businesses and stuff. And that, as far as I know, they're just focusing on New Hampshire. But if this is something that anyone can use, someone could create Dashforce. Someone can create a on the ground merchant adoption program that does the same kinds of incentives. And these guys know a whole lot. A few things I learned from them are, first off, it's really hard to get a business to just take Dash. You almost have to sell them on Bitcoin and a bunch of other cryptos. And then they realize a few months down the road that 80% or more of their sales are in Dash, of their crypto sales are in Dash. And so a lot of people are complaining oh, why do we need a point of sale that can be set up to take other ones too? It's well, that's how you get in the door. And the other thing is, what they do is they set everyone up, these merchants up for them. One they was talking about, they just said, hey, here's a point of sale. So they just gave them you don't have a tablet. Here's a tablet, has AnyPay already loaded up. And here's another box with a Ledger hardware wallet with all the addresses linked up. And here's the seed and all that kind of stuff. Here you go. It's all set up. Yeah. You just put it there and start taking your money. And there's a bunch of stuff we could learn from that.
What's the percentage on the Dashback? What is the percentage you get back? Is it?
I believe it's variable. I think it was a specific amount, like a $1 worth of Dash for a while. I think that they're going to work it in certain areas to make it, or certain circumstances to make it pretty hefty. I think they were considering a 30% back or 40% back in some areas. For example, at PorkFest, I think I heard that floated, but I don't know if that's final. But just in order to get everyone using it so that no one is not using it. And then, of course, you can reduce it later.
I think they said if the price goes up, also, they would do more kickbacks for Dashback. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the kickbacks, though, that I get a lot when I'm talking to small businesses about accepting crypto, and I'm just curious if you have any information on it, or if anybody's having any feedback on taxation, right? What if Dash goes up and then I convert it to fiat to pay my electric bill as a small business? Forget the whole trying to get them to accept Bitcoin first. I have to get them to feel comfortable taxation-wise before they'll even download a crypto wallet as a business.
Yeah, so the easiest places to go to are businesses that deal with a lot of cash. If they're willing to deal with cash, digital cash is very easy in that case. So I know some merchants that they just record those transactions as cash. They just
I have a tattoo parlor that I got my Dash tattoo at that accepts Dash just like digital cash transactions.
And that's exactly it. And some of them that are a little bit more they're a little bit more conscious about, they're not just, I'll just record it as cash, it'll be fine. Some of them actually, every Dash transaction they take, the owner puts the cash amount in the till and he just keeps the Dash. So he's buying Dash from his business kind of. So basically the business is just taking cash, and then he's getting the Dash personally.
So how do we get these businesses to accept Dash, buy supplies with Dash, pay their employees in Dash, who come in return as customers, and make it that economy like Alt36 is kind of doing with the cannabis industry?
Yeah. Well, here's the one thing that you could do as a crypto person. You could just say, look, this is the future. This is great. This is how you do it. If you have a problem taking it, if you don't want it, I'll just buy it off you. Spot anytime. Just call me up, say, hey, I don't want this Dash anymore. I'll buy it. And I know in Keene and Portsmouth, they're doing a whole lot of that kind of thing. Of course, if you happen to operate an ATM, you sell your Dash for cash, and then you get that whole thing going. So there's ways you can create the microeconomy there. And of course, if you just make it safe for one business, get one business that's like, oh yeah, I'll use it to get some extra customers or whatever, and then I'll either hold on to this stuff or I'll just get lazy and sell it back to you. You just get one of those, and then you start talking to the employees. Hey, can I tip you in Dash? This is good stuff. And then you're like, hey, do you want to like take some of your salary in Dash? Then you get the next shop over there. It's like, hey, tattoo parlor, you can go buy some of your stuff. Like I know some people at the local yoga studio that take Dash, that some of the employees then go and like buy food and stuff and drinks and coffee and stuff downtown with Dash as well. So they just, once you just get a few and you start linking them, once you get like a couple dozen, then it just explodes. Once you can use this as money, people are going to start going nuts over it.
Yeah, it's kind of how like Venmo got popular, right?
Yeah, Alt36 is supposed to have all the tax stuff baked in already, so it's just automatically does it. And then they're going to expand past the cannabis industry to everything. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. We have to. I think what we really should be trying to focus on isn't the peer to business; is actually the suppliers, where the businesses are going to be spending this in the end, right? Like if they have to cash out to pay their electric bill, is it really working? Or if their landlord isn't accepting it, is it really working? I think we need to find these guys suppliers and go right to the end guy and be like, look, you need to start selling these in bulk for Dash, and here's why. And then eventually the store will want you to give them Dash, so they already have it to pay their supplier for all the crap that you're buying with Dash.
I wonder if he's been talking to Alt36, because that's what they're doing. Yeah, there's not just the vendors, suppliers, distributors, it's everything.
Vertical integration. Yeah.
I just wanted to switch it up a bit. While we've got Ken here, I wanted to make the most of it. As he's blockchain agnostic, what would you say to Bitcoiners that are holding on to Bitcoin, they're having it as a store of value, they're obviously waiting for, Lightning, all that sort of stuff. If they want to use digital cash, like, why are you using Dash and not Bitcoin Cash? Like,
I think there's a lot of...
There we go.
All right. Well, first off, I don't trust Bitcoin Cash. I'm not going to be using something that has, I love the example of the 18-lane highway with 3 cars on it. I don't see a use, right? So, but when it comes to using Bitcoin as opposed to using Dash as cash, I don't want to send you $3, right, for a tip as my waitress at the restaurant using my Bitcoin wallet, because now you as the waitress just check my Bitcoin address that I sent from, and you know how much money I had in my pocket, and I only gave you $3. Kind of a douchey move, right? Like that's like flaunting how much money you have in your wallet as you give out 3s and go past all the 100s and 20s. It's not intentional, but it is a side effect of Bitcoin to expose how much money you have while transacting with people.
She's also going to get only $2 too instead of 3.
And then when she moves, it'll be 1. That's depending on network conditions. Which, by the way, shout out to my Dash wallet. If you go to, I'm just giving a shout out to all the people who are absolutely not paying me in any way, which I should probably get paid for this. But my Dash wallet is a Dash project. It's sort of like my Ether wallet. It's like a web interface wallet for Dash that allows you to do it. It's an interface for like a hardware wallet, or for just like a tipping platform. You could tip at someone's Twitter username, at their Discord username, at their Reddit username, and you can do instant sends. You can instant send to your Trezor, but out of your Trezor as well. You can private send to your Trezor and out of your Trezor. And right now it's not entirely trustless at this moment, because you do have to use their nodes. But according to the Treasury proposal that they just got passed like a couple days ago, they're working on so you can point it to your own node. So now you will be able to, on mobile devices, on your Trezor, whatever, just send completely trustless, completely anonymous transactions in Dash. So definitely look at my Dash wallet, and then you can do that with a tip. You can send like a super ultra anonymous, encrypted, whatever the hell, to someone's Twitter username, and they're just like, hey, there you go.
Yeah,
like, how cool is that?
MyDashWallet.org.
I'm about to check it out. I haven't used it yet, but I would love to send somebody some anonymous crypto, social media wise. I mean, that's freaking awesome, man. I mean, that's the thing though, right? Like that's what digital cash is. Cash, like, here you go. You don't know how much money I have. You just know that this is your money now. Done. And
you just know the bills smell vaguely of cocaine, but
right. Yeah, exactly. And the thing that really entices people like me when it comes to Bitcoin versus Dash is the transaction fees. Again, it's still, I want to give dollars out and not pay, you know, a large sum just to do that. Like if I tip 5 people and the transaction fees added up to a 6th tip, then that cuts somebody out somewhere or something. It does.
Yeah, but I think, so the reason why I asked you this is because I wanted like an outsider's opinion, because a lot of narrative from kind of the Bitcoin Cash side is that they've got low transaction fees as well. So they're kind of like, hey, if you're coming from Bitcoin, use Bitcoin Cash because we're low, don't use Dash, you know? So that's why I kind of...
But it's not anonymous. And instead of Bitcoin Cash, I would use Litecoin. It's been doing what Bitcoin Cash is claiming to do since before Bitcoin Cash was Bitcoin Cash. You know, it's just another... Bitcoin Cash isn't competing with Bitcoin. It's competing with Litecoin. You know, it wants to be its own thing while trying to, you know, say it to another. And that's the real problem. Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin. It's its own thing.
Well,
you know, it's funny. I like this debate because I'm so like, I've been living off of Bitcoin partially since 2013, and I've like been in this long game now, totally into Dash, but like I really don't care either way too much. And it's funny because this is the cool thing about Dash is I like political tribalism is all over the place. You get a lot of people who love Monero and Decred and Litecoin and Bitcoin Core, and they don't tend to interface with some other people. And then you got all these people picking these like tribal kind of things. But now we got good old Kenn Bosak here with tattoo of just about everything, who's not a big fan of Bitcoin Cash, but is a fan of everything else. And then not too long ago, I mean, it's been a few months, I've interviewed Roger Ver on this thing. Obviously not a Bitcoin Core supporter, you know, and it's fun to have these different kind of perspectives. I mean, even between the three of us amigos, we've had some heated disagreements on the air as well, because this isn't like a monolithic kind of idea.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter really who wins in the end. As long as fiat dies, if Bitcoin Cash gets the job done, dude, I will give it the biggest attaboy.
Hey, what if Ripple gets the job done?
Still, they deserve the attaboy, right? But what I see Ripple as would be like the Roman Empire, right? They took out a lot of this shit that could have been established, that could have been civilizations, but they did all that work for us, but they still aren't the civilization we are today, right? Like they just did a lot of the grunt work. If Ripple can incept with their Trojan horse-like ways into the banking community and completely drain them of their wealth using their scammy little XRP ways, and they can prove the, you know, and they can, you know, expose the flaws in the banking system, I think that's a stepping stone into the true decentralized cryptocurrency way. Like people will actually wake up. And I think it's going to start with the bankers that work at the bank that realize they were just duped.
If I told you that Roger had Dash Masternodes, would that be a deal breaker for you?
Ooh, no. I mean, I like to disagree and agree with people, man. I mean, it's only the 5% I don't agree with at the most. Even if it's 5% at the most, 95% of what Roger Ver says, I agree with. And I love Roger as a person. I just disagree with him philosophically, but that doesn't mean I would crucify him. I'd still give him a beer if he was sitting next to me at the bar. I'm not going to fangirl because of what's going on recently, but like he is owed his due diligence. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies would not be where we are today without some of that self-sacrifice. And he's giving away a lot of crypto. Like I personally give away a lot of my own money to know that he did what I've been doing since like forever ago. How much money is he giving away?
Just got banned on our Bitcoin. Oh, sorry, dude. You talk too much. You talk too much good about it.
Yeah, another place that Dash has everybody beat is the instant transactions. When just recently I sent a instant transaction to Uphold to cash out a little. I committed a sin, but to cash out to my bank account, and it was literally
sins are forgiven, my child.
Yeah, I was literally within minutes. I had sent the Dash to Uphold, and then it was it was transferred to my bank account. It was, I mean, Bitcoin. I mean, God, we all know you could just wait forever.
Well,
yeah.
Mark, you brought up Masternodes, right? Right. Somebody.
Yeah.
I would love to just talk for a second about Masternodes because
cool.
I know this may be taboo or whatever. My perspective and how I see things may be different, but it's my own. I like to look at a masternode as a money laundering business. And what Wells Fargo is a money laundering business. If I'm not mistaken, they have been caught money laundering for Al-Qaeda. Every other terrorist organization, these banks have been caught laundering money for. These banks need a better technology to launder their money through. How far do you think it is far-fetched thought that Wells Fargo will be running masternodes and incentivizing their cartel to sell their kilos of coke for Dash so they could launder their money via a masternode? I mean, it's not any different than their current business model.
Banks have centralized data centers, right? And the beauty of the DAO is based on a second tier network. So the masternodes actually enable the instant send transactions and the private send, but also the governance and the treasury as well. So they would have to have multiple masternodes everywhere, but it'd still be centralized because it'll be under their multinational corporation.
But I mean, like, even we're talking about the small businesses and their use cases for the technology. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is how banks work. That is their business model, to launder money. And to do instant sends through a masternode is kind of like doing a giant wire transfer through a Swiss bank account into your Wells Fargo account. But you don't have to worry about.
How does Visa work? Visa has a network, right? So when we think of banks, it was just like the article we did today about cryptocurrency being expensive electricity, where bankers love to demonize cryptocurrency because of the cost of mining and everything else. But when you factor in the reliance on the banking sector of all these skyscrapers, of all their data centers, it actually exceeds
of all that cocaine.
I've argued what you're saying is, well, the reason they attack cryptocurrency because of mining and all the electricity that it costs is because it can actually be gauged, right? You can sit there and you can measure within a skew exactly how much electricity and energy and money it's costing. It costs so much money to secure fiat, they can't measure it. So we can't argue back with a rebuttal. It's so much money to secure money. It's a business. It's that scary. But, that's why they like to say, oh, Bitcoin costs, this much electricity. Yeah, a great comparison when I can't argue the difference because yours is so large, it can't be gauged.
Yeah, solar
by the
power
way,
and stuff like that's going to...
I just got a message from the crypto show, and it just no context, just an image of
I forgot about that. Yes,
of a Fonzie dude a shark jump Fonzie dude with a bitch please Bitcoin Cash please shirt. So
I was supposed to share that, man. I forgot I had that in my own. That is so funny.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, but it's funny, and this is the good thing about this is one thing that I'd like to sort of talk about, because this is Ken's specialty, is being a total fanboy about crypto, just loving crypto, being like not just like the regular user, because most people don't care about PayPal this much and never will. Most people in 10 years won't care about crypto this much. They'll just be all using it. But this is such an interesting thing because passion is contagious. And if you're just like, dude, I just this stuff, it's on my arm, it's on my shirt, it's my hat, oh, it's amazing. People are going to catch on that this is something cool. And like so much of this stuff, I do think crypto needs to be more accessible to the average person. And at the same time, there's just something about when you see the little Fonzie jumping the shark, when you're sharing memes back and forth to each other, the person who's not in on that is going to feel like left out a little bit. Like, I mean, think about something like Rick and Morty. That's just such a nerdy in-joke kind of thing, but then the mass audiences love it, and they want to be in on that. They want to be in on the Schrodinger's cat jokes or whatever the hell else. They want to be in on that. And so crypto hyper fandom, as long as you're encouraging to newbies and just want to reach out to new people, as long as you're trying to get it accessible to the average person, being a little bit of a crazy fanboy is a good thing, not really a bad thing, as long as you're not a total asshole.
Well, I try not to be an asshole at all, but how can we all be, not an asshole all the time? But I mean, it's the people
I have not figured that out for my own life.
The people I talk to, right? It's like they are average people that are, you know, in a situation where they don't even, or if they do realize it, that, you know, they're being taken advantage of. And I just want to show them, this is how I got out of that scenario. And like, I don't have a job anymore because of crypto. It's really, I went all in based on my passion of the technology and the actual end use case of it. And now I have what I consider real true freedom. I don't care about paying rent tomorrow. And I owe that to cryptocurrencies like Dash because of early adopterness, right? I got in at like $10 back when everybody was calling Dash a scam. It was like, okay, but I'm buying it anyway. And I'm trying to tell you, you might want to too. If you're going to go to the store and buy a 40 or some cigarettes or Nike shoes, maybe don't this week. And nobody listened. And I feel like it's not my own success, right? It's Dash's success, but I feel like the success of Dash has given some credibility to what I've been trying to tell my friends and family over the years. So I feel like that I owe it to those people to keep being adamant about the technology and its actual use case, and not to be telling people, oh, it's going to go up 10x because of this. It just works because it works. Use it.
Yeah, like which that. By the way, that reminds me, I'd love to do interview. I like to do these little portmanteau kind of words. So how about master nomad? I love to know some dude who has a masternode and lives out of his backpack and just travels the world off of his masternode rewards. I just love to find some. There's got to be a few of those.
Yeah, there's got to be doing that at some point.
Danny,
I had this idea when you were talking about cryptography stuff, and like, what happens if you have your masternode and it's all like the address and it's all going in there and stuff. It's all set up somewhere, and you're just running it. And then you tattoo a key, a encrypted private key, right? Your seed words in some way that only you'd recognize. You have that tattooed on your body just in case. And then what happens if you get stopped? You lose everything you own, and you go to prison or whatever, and you're just like destitute and broke, but you still got that masternode chugging around. And then you break out and you swim across the ocean. You put a funny wig on, get a little mustache or whatever, and then you just go get to a computer, internet cafe or whatever, plug that stuff in, and then you're back in business. Like,
coming soon to Netflix, Breaking Crypto.
That's why I like Edge, right?
That's good to me.
That's why I agree with what Ken was saying earlier. Like, you just need the username and password. So like, I can actually delete the Edge app off my phone before I cross the border, and then just install the app and then go back again.
If you forget the password, they have the 2FA recovery, so you can create a question and create an answer. You know, it's like, what was my own favorite food or whatever. Like, it makes it so easy, man. And that's a great example. I mean, not even being a criminal, but what if you're a political criminal in a sense, where, like Edward Snowden, he had a lot of his finances in a bank account when this government deemed him a terrorist. He lost all of his money trying to do the right thing. Imagine if he had his wealth in a masternode and he didn't have to worry about starting all over financially as a refugee in another country. I feel like those are the aspects that are going to be utilized. I mean, look at all the refugees we've seen recently fleeing and being embraced by other countries, where they're dealing with having no currency because they don't want to buy their currency when they arrive, right? Like, they're rowing on a boat to freedom with all this fiat from their country that when they land on this new land, that money is nothing. You might as well have burned it to stay warm at sea.
Now imagine this. What happens if you have a refugee and you can just like adopt a refugee? Just get them a phone. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm sure you got some good ideas too. What happens if you just get them a phone that has some data on it, whatever, and just say, hey, just live stream your stuff. Every time you want to buy something, just like do like live stream. You're going into a shop and I'll just pay for your food there. It's like, I'm not just going to give you money that you might lose or scam me out of or whatever. But imagine being able to just say, like, have like a live stream where someone's going around, hey, I worked hard. I don't have enough to buy. I'll buy you a car. Sure, I'm a rich guy. I'll buy you a used car. And then you actually go to where they're signing the paperwork and shaking. You're watching from wherever you are, and then you just go pay it remotely like that. Like, you can't shadow someone and financially pay from distance. It's going to revolutionize charity, because right now there's the whole, do I just wire you a bunch of money to some account that can get frozen, or do I just give you a big stack of bills that then you can just go, blow on cocaine and hookers? A lot of cocaine references in this
Patreon and get
podcast. I do
30%
apologize.
ripped off, right? I mean, there's centralized donation sites like GoFundMe that steal like 30% off the top.
Wow.
And I don't think things like GoFundMe or Patreon, they're brilliant. They're great for existing. It's not their fault that they're using dinosaur money. Right? At some point, there's going to be a dinosaur money tipping point, dibs on the band name again, that it's going to just go over, and we're going to realize that there's going to be systems that something like Patreon might be a Dash DApp that's going to take like 0.5% or something at most to just have a good network of willing donors or whatever, to have some kind of other functionality, and then the Dash itself will flow a lot easier.
I love your idea of adopt a person. I mean, I joke about this a lot, but it is serious. I mean, the majority of the homeless community in America all own an iPhone. I mean, like you'll see them plug into an iPhone, an outlet behind a vending machine to charge their iPhones. But I mean, the majority of the homeless in this country do have an iPhone, even an iPhone 5, which is like 20,000x on top of what the technology was when we landed on the moon, allegedly. It's insane technology that costs $25. You're right. Just give somebody a smartphone and say, write an article and Steam it. If you're hungry, I'll send you some crypto. If they don't accept crypto, here's a crypto ATM machine. You can send it to that, get the fiat out, go feed yourself. Like, that is ingenious, man. Like, that's a really good idea. I would love to figure out how we could encourage, the less fortunate community to embrace this technology where they don't need any IDs. I've been homeless before. I know what it's like to not have a driver's license when you're filling out a job application, and the first thing it asks for is, where do you live? And you're like, nowhere yet, bro. That's why I need this job.
Yeah, I think I've heard Core talk about getting phones out or something. Isn't there a plan for like Venezuela or something to send?
The not living anything reminds me a few years ago, before I was in Dash, I was writing for Cointelegraph, and I interviewed none other than Tiffany Hayden about being unbanked and the problems that come with being unbanked, and which I suspect is one of the big reasons that she got into crypto. And she was talking about different, life situations, making that she didn't have a permanent address at the time, and then she just couldn't get the ID and couldn't get the bank account, all this kind of stuff, just because of that one little, I'm not paying regular dues to the system by like renting out a location on the planet, and if I don't rent out the location on the planet, I do not exist as a person, and I'm a second-class citizen, and that's kind of
a criminal.
Crazy.
Technically, you're a criminal.
Yeah,
if you don't pay rent, if you don't have income, you're a criminal, right? Like, you can't pitch a tent in the middle of the woods without paying for, rent or property taxes. You can't even educate yourself on how to feed yourself, because growing crops is against the law if you don't have a license for it over a certain amount, and you can't catch a deer, hunt a deer. Yeah, exactly. You can't even go fishing with your knowledge of how to catch and gut a fish unless you have earned a fiat to pay to use that that permission-based education that you've self-taught. You're a criminal if you don't have a job and you don't pay the Matrix. Yeah, I'm good. I'm unplugged, man. I still pay rent and stuff, but I do want to do the digital nomad thing, because
Remax. You can pay Dash and Remax to rent and purchase property.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
I gotta figure out the specifics of that. But yeah, if you go to Ledgeview Commercial out here in Manchester, not too far away from here, has like a half dozen apartments for rent for Dash. It's like stuff is starting to catch on.
That would be my Masternode. I'd buy a house and rent it for Dash.
Yeah, there you go. That works too.
So we're about an hour 24 in. It's probably about time to wrap up.
Yeah.
Ken, I talk too much.
We do an after party. I don't know what your plans are, but you're more than welcome to join us. So we have a community Discord channel. And after the podcast, which we do every Friday, we then retreat to there. There's only 10 spaces available, and typically people from the Dash community come in, Masternode owners, and also people from the Dash community, and we just talk about anything and everything. You're more than welcome to join us. And if you're listening, you're more than welcome to join us. First come, first served, dashchat.org.
Yeah, if you're not listening, please stay away. We don't want you there. Scum of the earth.
It's the people reading, that have hearing impairments that are really offended right now.
Yeah. So
if they knew what you were saying. So
we do this every Friday, and even with the after party afterwards, it goes on not just for a few hours, but actually quite a long time. So sometimes even after we leave, it just goes on and on and on because of the different time zones people live in. So yeah, feel free to come and join us. Thank you for joining us on episode 54. Ken, any final words you'd like to say, or anything you'd like to plug? You want to dab
with that Dash tattoo?
Yeah, dude, check out the Dash tattoo. Dab for Dash, guys. Shout out to all 36. I really love what they're doing. Rewards Token and all them guys with their partnerships. Cheap Air and all these guys that are partnering with Dash. I just love those guys. It's awesome. But yeah, guys, check out my Pure Blockchain Wealth interviews. I just interviewed Jeffrey Tucker. It was fun. You guys could check that out. It was an interesting conversation, as you can imagine me and Jeffrey Tucker would have. Check out KennBosak.com for more information on my trip to Canada, Canada's crypto. My buddy Kevin Moore has me coming out there on the 14th. So if you're up north, guys, come on out to Toronto, and yeah, it's gonna be lit, guys. And that's it, man. Have a day.
Excellent. Well, if you've enjoyed this podcast and you like Ken, let us know in the comments below, and hopefully we can get Ken back on. Ken, would you like to come back at some time in the future?
Dude, I'm all in on crypto. I have no job. I'm literally just sitting here bored until somebody invites me on their show.
That's like a done deal. Okay, well, we'll be here next Friday, same Dash time, same Dash channel. Thanks for joining us, episode 54 of the Dash Force Free Amigos, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care and bye.
Stay dashy.